I'd been trying to sell my wares at the flea market up north all summer since May. And today, as the season drew to an end, most dealers talked of going south to warmer days. I hadn't made any plans about where I'd go. Just any place, I guess, to keep ahead of the snow. So there I sat east of St. Croix at the bottom of the hill, waiting in the cold for a buyer. Old Flea Market Phil. I scanned my array on the table to down near the end, where with his case propped open lay an old violin. That was one of the few things I still had in this world, after the years since my wife left and took my little girl. Then after I got laid off where I worked at the mill, I started flea marketing and got the name Flea Market Phil. My dad used to play that violin as good as any man, and I could too before I went to war and hurt my hand. At first I thought I'd keep it for memory's sake, then I decided to sell it for the money I'd make. As the weeks dragged by, I found out since then that nobody wanted to buy my old violin. Oh, once in a while during the day, folks would come by my table and they'd say, "How you doing, Phil? How you been? I see you've still got your old violin." Someone passed by and said it sure is a sin, leaving that out in the cold, that nice old violin. Sometimes I heard it said from where I sat, "Imagine asking 75 for no fiddle like that." Most cars just kept going by on Highway 8. Business was slow and it was getting late. Then I heard a young woman's voice carried by the wind say, "Hey, look on the table. There's an old violin." I turned and watched her face, the excited glow. She tuned the strings and tightened the bow. She touched the strings and people watched where she stood. Could she ever play? It sounded real good. That old violin sounded just as it did when Dad played it back when I was a kid. I coughed down a catch in my throat and ventured a word. "Where did you learn to play? That's as good as I have ever heard." Well, she said I took some lessons, but I recall my granddaddy used to play when I was real small. And my daddy used to play in a country band. That was before he went to war and hurt his hand. We sometimes talked about it after Mom and I went away. She paused to read what the writing inside had to say. When she saw the name, she looked up in surprise. "Can it be?" she asked as tears welled in her eyes. "Yes," I said, "at long last I've found my little girl. And today I'm the happiest man in the whole wide world." That old violin found a home there at the bottom of the hill, and a new lease on life for old Flea Market Phil.